and stuff like that, you know. He said occasionally when he gets into hairy situations, his symbiont will kickstart his nervous system. Yeah. So that's some crazy shit. Can I say that here? It's my video. I mean, and if you look, if you examine, what does that mean? What type of contact is that? Like, holy crap. That's another level of contact that I've never heard of anybody talk about before, you know? Who would give somebody something like that? Are you even considered human anymore? Does that interfere with the humanity and its natural path of evolution? Giving somebody something like that? Coming back to the story, I saw the symbiont, I was like, whoa! And he was leading me on. You know, he was leading me on, and again, we were brothers. I love this guy, you know. And then, you know, one time I told him, yeah, you know, you can ask him for a symbiont too, you know, if you want, you know, boost your spiritual development and all that stuff, you know. But I was asking for a symbiont, you know. I was really close. I was a lot of temptation along the way. Yeah? He always demonstrates, alludes to powers and abilities that's always just out of your touch. You know what I mean? And you know, it's like activate your third eye, evolve your DNA, and develop your abilities, so your gifts. You know, develop yourself, work on yourself, get your gifts. You know, don't worry about falling into the trap of saving the world. Just develop yourself. You know, and you know, demonstrating these abilities, and you're like, wow. So, you know, I started asking for these kind of stuff, and I had no idea what that would have meant. You know what I mean? Then he had a falling part with an OG, and then he had to move and divorce, move to the Big Island and divorce his wife. I'm not gonna get into that. So, you know, he was on the Big Island. Met a girlfriend. I call her Angel. She's absolutely so sweet. We did another acceptance ceremony for the shamanic tradition this time, right? So he said, oh yeah, we'll make an effigy, we're going to do this and that, accept you into my shamanic tradition. But you got to give an offering of your hair, cut it from your crown. So, okay. And then his girlfriend goes, hell no, I ain't cutting my hair. We're like, what? I was like, whoa, his girlfriend. I ain't cutting my hair. She's like, I don't want to learn the shaman thing then. I was like, whoa. Because previously she had told me that like they did another medicine ceremony, and then she said like during that medicine ceremony, T1000 had opened up a vortex and called in like all these greys, and the greys was talking, and she said all of a sudden she heard them talking, and the greys was just like, oh, she hears us. How does she know we're here and all that stuff, you know? And ever since then, she told me like, dude, she doesn't trust T1000. And I was like, wow. So when she was like, when he was like, dude, you're gonna have to cut the hair from the crown of your head. She was like, no, I ain't doing that. I'm not doing that. And I was like, whoa, this is your girlfriend, you know? Then he had talked about the Kauai pyramids and all that stuff. I call her Angel because she's absolutely so sweet, so sweet. You know, she calls me out one time. You know, she goes, "Oh son, yeah, I was up in LA and there was this dragon statue, and this dragon gave me some empowerment, and this dragon was living in a statue and it gave me 2 dragon pearls, and it said one of them's for you." I was like, "Oh wow, yeah, I'll give it to you when I see you." So then we were going to. There's pyramids on the Big Island. There's pyramids on the Big Island, and he knows where it was at, you know, up next to these mountains and stuff like that. And so we were going up to the mountain, and getting all our gear, preparing to go up to the mountain. I talked to her, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I have your dragon pearl." And I said, "Yeah, I can't wait to get it." She's like, "Oh, I can give it to you now." I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, just put out your hand." So I put out my left hand, and she said, "Okay, I'm gonna give it to you." So I'm on the phone. She gives it to me. And my hand just buzzes. I'm just like, whoa, what is this, you know? My hand just goes numb, just buzzy. I'm like, wow, this is cool. Wow. So we go to Big Island, and we go to this, do this trip to go up there to find this pyramid, because he's telling me the pyramid has this and it has that inside it, you know, it should have this and it should have that. I'm just like, what the heck? You know, how do you know all this stuff, you know? Maybe it was a symbiont, I don't know. Anyways, we go to the Big Island to do the ceremony, right? It's kind of activating. We say, I'm gonna give you guys activation, give you guys transfer. And then he goes, then it's my turn. He goes, put your hand out like this. I'm like, what? Put my hand out like this. And I was thinking to myself, you've never done this before. This is where my dragon pearl is at. You know? so you know, he puts his hand on top of my hand and stuff. And I was like, dude. I was thinking to myself, did you just take my dragon pearl? You know what I mean? But I still felt it afterwards, so. If it's yours, it's yours, you know what I mean? You can't get into that kind of stuff. But so we went up into the pyramids, we hiked up, and they call it no man's land. They say you go up into the area, they say the farmers don't go back up there. They say every time the farmers go back there, sometimes people go missing, and they say when they go back there, they said it always rains. They call it land of the moguls. So we went up there, and one of my friends had there was two main experiences. One of my friends had a experience where he was in his tent. Then the next day he come down, you know. One of the guy went out at night. I mean, this is pitch black. Well, he went out at night, and then he starts running back. He's like, holy shit. He said he was sitting down meditating at the rock, and then while with his eyes closed, he saw this lady looked like a crocodile, alligator, walk out from the right. When he opened his eyes, she appeared from the left, and she was just like, whoa. He got up off of the rock, and he stepped back, and but he felt like the lady was just checking him out, and she didn't mean no harm, and he could feel that, you know. But he was just like, oh, he just got out of there, and he came back and he told us, you know. And so that was really interesting. The next day, this other guy inside his tent told us about another experience. He said he was inside his tent, and I forgot how it go, but it basically was that in his sleep he took off all his clothes and he had a wet dream, and he told us about it in the camp. And then T1000 was just like, you know, after he went away, T1000 was like, dude, when things like that happen, like, that's not the last time, you know, they always remember you, you know. And I was like, what? And you just laugh about it? Like, what, you know? Wow. Wait a minute. What's that? What is that, you know? So that's that. So I'm just sharing these kind of stuff to you guys because, I mean, this is what happened, you know. The reality that I was living was just like sci-fi, you know. Stargates, symbionts, black eyes, pyramids.
Did he say like what his connection was, or what his deal was, or like?
Yeah.
I mean, did he explain himself to you? Like,
he did. He said when he was younger, he said ever since he was in a crib, he said he always had a Dracman. I always watched over him, protecting him. He said people always said that Dracs and reptilians are evil and bad and stuff like that. He's like, not all of them are bad, you know, and that I believe.
What type of nanny?
Drac.
Drac?
Drac. Draconian nanny. Draconian nanny. Yeah. And so he said he always had that a Drac nanny since he was young in the crib, you know, and they always took care of him. And he said that not all of them was bad, and I resonate with that. You know, I mean, it's hard to say, you know, or you know, if are humans bad? Look at what we do to our environment. But you know, same thing. You cannot judge
I'm sure there's heredity in every race.
You cannot judge an entire race just by the popular belief. And how do you know? Have you met one, or did you read that in a book? You know, if you ask various shamans what the origin of creation is, every single shaman from different cultures will have their own version of creation. Yeah, their own version, and they're all different. It's because you get at different points of view, and it's just like a buffet, you know. You look at what's at the buffet, and you select what resonates with you, what's right with you, you know. And, you know, I do resonate that like not all Dracs, not all reptilians are evil, and
right.
Because when I was younger, I'm born in the year of the snake in the Chinese astrology, and I always was like, you know, the snakes always had a bad rep from the Bible, you know, right? That the snake tempted Eve to eat the forbidden fruit, yeah.
Snakes and women.
Snakes and women, yeah, that's right. So women are bodily sin, huh?
Well, you know the goddesses, have you seen her with the snakes going up her arms? Because they would invite the snakes to bite them, and if they survived the venom, then they had a direct experience of communication from source, from the goddess that they would share.
Right, absolutely.
It's like the Baptist South.
Yeah.
For me, this serpent represents a creature that is always feeling what Earth is feeling, and she's always feeling the Earth's vibration, and she's always on the belly with Mother Earth, yeah? Intimately connected with the Earth. The way the snake moves is like a sine wave, yeah? It's about like, for me, it represents a sympathetic resonance, yeah? Of love and compassion, yeah? It's just vibration, yeah? If the Bible gave it a bad rap, it might deserve a little bit more investigation, you know? So because I was born in the year of the snake, you know, I always believed that, like, you know what? My first tattoo is the caduceus, because you know, I wanted to have a snake, a symbol of a snake that would represent positive and good, you know. And so I resonate with that, with what he said, that not all drafts are evil and bad, yeah, and that you have to really experience it for themselves. Some people that you meet are pure evil, you know what I mean? And you gotta remember that this guy was like a magician. He had knowledge and skills and power and gifts that that I wanted, you know, that I was tempted. I mean, I'm sure, have you ever wanted your third eye activate your DNA, culture and DNA ascend? You know what I mean? We've all wanted that, right?
What, was he born here in Snake too, or, you know?
You're in the rat.
The industrious.
Okay, this guy I call T2000, but just because he was the next person that I spent a lot of time with, and he did teach me a lot, although it's hard for me to accept it right now, but he did teach me a lot. I call him T2000 because after T1000, you know, so I call him T2000. His story was that, sorry, maybe push the plug in? Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, thank you.
So his story was that he had a death experience that led to his awakening. Yeah, he had a retreat center, a place that with some acres out in the country and stuff like that. He had one major conference a year where he invited all esoteric, exopolitic speakers and all that stuff. You know, and the property was located on a vortex, and there was a lot of UFOs, a lot of phenomenon there. Let me just kind of catch up on my slides here. I apologize, but this is, I did just work on this for the past 2 weeks, and this is my first time doing this presentation. Okay. So, you know, T1000 had told me about this guy. I was like, oh, wow, you know, that's interesting. You know, he'd be interested in visiting this place. While we were doing the pyramid trip, I had suggested, because we had fallen apart, we were like this. We had fallen apart, and I was going to go visit my sister and visit my sister up in the mainland, and I was like, dude, I'm going to go check this place out because it's close by. So when we were up in the Big Island, his entourage was there that he traveled with, and so I told him, like, hey, I'm going to go check out this place at this time, and his entourage was scheduled his stuff. They were like, oh, when are you going? Like, oh, around this date. That was actually October 14th. I remember because that was the time, Goodman had talked about the mass sighting of UFOs and all of that stuff, yeah? That didn't happen. So I remember that because of that. So I went up there, and so they were like, oh, we're doing a workshop right around that area. Like, we'll meet you. So boom, the whole entourage came, and we visited the location. We did see amazing lights and phenomena, just like I saw in the desert in Arizona. And then one of the guys was out in the trees, and he had taken the next picture. He had taken that picture right there. So it was just like, wow, this place is cool, you know. Let me see. So he was out in the dark, and he said he had taken this with his cell phone. Okay. Next page. So then after that, T2000 goes and he visits Hawaii. One of my friends that we went out with, he connected with him in Hawaii. So when he came here, no, he had connected. T1000 was in the T1000 was doing a teacher's training, and T1000 had invited T2000. meet the Terminators. I have to inject a little bit of humor in this because it's been so intense in my life, you know? I have to inject a little bit of humor because I can laugh at it now, but at the time, man, it's been intense. So, you know, T1000 was doing a teacher's training, and T1000 had invited T2000 to come over and check it out because T2000 had contacts too, and it was like the powers combined, you know? And then at the time, you know, we had done like a channeling session or something like that, and they found out that like Babaji was one of my guides, you know, and I'm like, wow, that's interesting, you know. We were at a restaurant, and then I was curious, so I asked T2000, because his thing was that he was good at tapping in and connecting, you know. So I asked him, did I ask him? Oh yeah, I did ask him. We were at a restaurant, and I asked him, oh, so how do I tap in and connect with Babaji if I want to ask him or work with him something? As soon as I asked that, like the being that I think was Babaji, like came out of me, like this much, and I was like, okay, I know how I'm going to connect. It came out of me. Yeah, and so I was planning to move to the mainland because, and after experiencing all of this stuff with T1000, he moved off. I'm like, dude, there's got to be more in life. There's something I need to do. You know, I was just like, I need to do something. You know. And so I was planning to move to the mainland. I had a friend in California. I was gonna maybe planning on, I could stay with him. The mom knows me. We're cool. They have an extra room. But then T2000 has that retreat center. And so I told him I was planning on moving, and he said he saw a vision of me working in the garden, smiling, and he told me to move up, come and check it out. So I did. I was planning on moving up there for. I was thinking like, sweet, I'll try that. Move up there, saved up some money. I'll try that for maybe a couple months, and then I'll probably have to go and move on and get a job or something, you know. That's good. Okay, so what happened was 3 months before I'm about to move. I had a good job at that time. You know, again, I was a massage therapist. I was teaching massage therapy at one of the local schools here.
I'm just stretching, sorry.
I was teaching one of the massage therapy at one of the local schools here, and that was a great gig. Everybody's like, dude, why are you kidding? You finally got a good job, and you're gonna move. I was like, dude, I just need to. So there's something I gotta do. So 3 months before I have to move, I reconnect with the head priest just through random faith. I call this guy Herbert. It looks like a Herbert. Herbert was he was part of a spiritual organization, and you know, he wanted to connect with the head priest, and so I had picked him up. He's like, oh yeah, have you seen the head priest lately? I was like, oh no, I haven't seen the head priest. He was really kind and welcoming to me, and I've never seen him since they had fall apart, yeah? So I was like, no, I haven't seen him. And he was like, oh, I want to go visit the head priest. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'll take you to go check out the head priest. So I go to the head priest. I take him to the head priest, and man, I was in the class, and he was doing some exercises. He was doing this exercise called teacups, and he was teaching an art that was all based on spirals, and he started really explaining. As soon as I went into class, we were doing teacups. I was like, oh my God, this is what my body wants to do. It's just like, this is what I've been doing in my meditations. It's just these spirals, and here he's explaining in detail in a precise art, and what it does, and why do we do this, and all of this stuff in a beautiful art. And I was just like, oh my God. Then he started explaining about the martial art and the meditations, and why you have to do these internal martial arts, and he explained it, how he develops the spirit, and it finally hit me, and I got it. It's the whole story of Bodhidharma teaching these Shaolin monks internal Kung Fu so that they could master their body and master energy, so that they could use this body to develop their spirit. Because this is the full representation of who we are at this time, yeah? Spirit, mind, and body, yeah? You cannot neglect the body. So, oh my God, he started giving me all this information. He welcomed me back with open arms, and I was like, oh my God, I love this art, you know? And I just love this art. Then he started telling me about T1000, and he's like, yeah, remember one time we were in the ceremony in the temple, and he did the ceremony where he took his shirt off, he had ropes over here, he had girls around him. I was like, yeah, I remember that ceremony. He was like, yeah, that wasn't a good ceremony. That was, what he did, what he wanted to do was he wanted to transfer energy out to these girls that was situated in a circle around him, and the girls were supposed to get all blissed out, and then send the energy out so that he could, so that they amplify the energy so that he could retake it back in. But supposedly the girls had kept the energy or something. And I was like, I remember that ceremony. And as soon as I saw it, something in my head said, that's not good. Like, I knew that wasn't good. And he started telling me about all this other things, and I was just like, oh my God. You know, when you hear truth, it resonates. It rings inside you, and you start connecting the dots, and you start seeing it, and you're just like, oh my God. And I remember asking him, but he's good, right? And the head priest goes, and I was like, what? So he had just flipped the table on me, and it's the story of the moon, the reflection of the moon. You know how sometimes in life there's all these illusions that sometimes we're chasing after something so obscure like evolution, activation, DNA, ascension, and then we can't quite get a grasp of, and we set up our home base, our house, our life, our friends, our family, everything around this illusion. Then all of a sudden one day somebody goes, hey, dude, the moon's up there. What do? Do you give up everything that you've invested your life in for the past years? Your house, your family, your way of life? Everything. So it really like, I really had to relook, and I was like, oh my God. I talked to other people, I started meeting other people, and I had to accept it for a fact. I knew it. I saw the red flags all along. But because he had power, he had abilities, he had gift, I overlooked that. I thought it was me because he's coyote medicine, right? But he's a trickster, like those guys. Just because they got abilities, they got gifts, just because they got a flashing bling bling, you know, from another planet, don't mean they're better than you. And then T1000 told me, remember when I was at the first temple? Are you raising your hand? So I was at the temple for 9 months. One time in one of our meditations, the head priest runs over and palms me on my chest, and I was just like, whoa, what was that about? You know, then the T1000 comes up to me, he goes, he could have killed you if he wanted to. And this head priest was like, I mean, we're talking about skills that are considered legendary to a lot of people, you know. Yeah, I believe so, you know. I mean, he was always somebody that, the head priest was always somebody that I respected and I loved, because he was always very happy, cheerful, joyful. And when I was reconnecting with him, I was like, dude, I don't care what skills, what gifts this guy got. That's what I want. I want to be able to laugh like him. I want to be able to have that. That's the power that I want. I want the power to be lighthearted. You know, that's what I wanted. You know? And he told me, remember that palm that I gave you? He was like, afterwards, he lost his skill, that spiraling art and all that stuff. He said he lost his skill and the strength in his skill for 2.5 years. He had to retrain himself for 2.5 years to regain his skill. And that he transferred a lot of that to me. I was like, what? Buy you lunch? I was like, wow. So I was like, oh my God. I was like, dude, what is up, what is down? I was like, what the heck is going on? Like this, I mean, like how T1000's godfather transferred all his life force over to him. I mean, some of these things might seem legendary, but man, these things are, the definition of Kung Fu is hard work. A cook can have good Kung Fu. Yeah, a dancer can have good Kung Fu. Kung Fu is hard work. So in internal Kung Fu and in a lot of these Eastern arts, they utilize the physical body for energy cultivation, and they use that as hard work. It's like someone who's learning how to surf and another pro surfer, you know? It might seem like an amazing feat, but like it's not an amazing feat when you understand the little details that he's taken to perfect himself that way. Yeah? He's done a lot of groundwork to be able to do that. And then when he's up there, man, he's just ripping it. Dancing like second nature, but we all can have that, so that is our potential, yeah? So I was just like, oh my God. So I just want to go back into real quick about the symbiont. Yeah, the symbiont. That's really profound if you think about the level of interaction or the level of, would you call it interaction or would you call that something like
Symbiotic relationship.
symbiotic relationship? Yeah, yeah. Man, that's like that's intervention, yeah. Wow, I mean that's huge. And you know, he told me like sometimes he went to scanners or you know he goes to scientists to just kind of like prove what he can do and stuff like that. And you know, he said one time he was able to like swallow a whole cup of mercury and spit it out without it killing him. You know, and he was like, you know, if you know your alchemy, you know, but it was a little dangerous. He said, you know, but he said this thing here almost got caught by the scientists in the X-rays, but it was. But sometimes it's able to phase shift out of this reality. Crazy, yeah? So this is again grafted with the genetics of two different beings so that your body doesn't reject it. And so it's grafted from your own body, your own genetic. Wow, that's like a sleeper.
Is the one up there, is that supposed to be a picture of
Yeah, I
of
just
one,
searched.
or how did you find out?
I searched YouTube, no, internet.
So that looked similar to what you saw that
This is
came
what
out?
I saw something like this.
So it just didn't have the...
No, but when I saw something like this, it had popped out because I was doing the eye transfer. I remember it was all void. You know, his eyes were just all black, and so I was just like, I saw that flash, and I guess that was my cue. He said, when you see something, close your eyes, you know. And I saw this flash, and I guess that I was supposed to close my eyes, but I didn't. And then I see this thing like pop out. He was wearing the bandana, yeah, like this, yeah. He was wearing this. He had a hat, and he's doing the transfer. The people's over there, and the thing, it just popped out a little bit, you know. It just popped out a little bit, and I was like, and then he closed my eyes, you know. And I was like,
He didn't want you to see it. Is that why he was telling you to close your eyes? Because he didn't want people to see the thing.
yeah.
Who grafted it? The ETs?
Yeah, one of the ETs, yeah. And that's some serious intervention, huh? Wow. That's like some serious souped up job. But then like if you if you ever watched Stargate, I watched Stargate and stuff like that, and they said the symbiont attaches to your spinal cord and it can make you do things that you don't want to do because it just taps right into your nervous system, you know. But I have no idea whatever else his symbiont does, you know. I don't know, it's a two-way communication, it keeps him healthy. A couple times where he got into near-death experiences and his symbiont will kickstart his life force. And also at like extreme cases where he's actually gone already, he trains certain people to his dakinis and stuff like that. He trains certain people. He said one time he trained this one girl that he was going to go, train this girl so that when he does go, they jump on him and they suck on his tongue. And then I think that what that does is it triggers the because your tongue, and then you know that's a tantric practice, yeah, to share energy, yeah. So I think what that does is it triggers the symbiont to jump into that other person, power up, recharge, and then jump back in to him and then activate him. Well, that's what I think. I'm not sure. Maybe I've been watching too much TV.
Like I think that one, isn't that like on Pink Boy the Wall?
So when I told him I saw it, he said, like, you know, so you know, when I saw it, you know, he closed my eyes, and then when I went off, you know, he wasn't happy that I saw it, you know, because we wasn't supposed to see it. We stayed up one night and you know one day, and you know, we're supposed to be a little bit out of it. And when I saw that flash of light, it was my cue to close my eyes, you know, but I guess I didn't. Okay, so we just talked about the palm transfer. You know, I just found out that, like, you know, the head priest had just given me this transfer, and I was just like, wow. I don't know what that's about, you know. And then when I talked to him more about it, you know, he told me that, like, you know, he had vowed to, like, help fix a lot of the people that were broken, who got hurt, you know. Because I started meeting people. This is 3 months before I was about to move to the mainland. Yeah, I met a lot of people who were broken, who were fragmented, and who got burnt from studying with T1000. You know, T1000. Now you know why I call him T1000. I didn't want to just call him my first teacher. You know, he just kind of didn't have the right feel. You know, like wow. And then, you know, when he started telling me that, the truth resonated. It hit me, and I knew that was the truth, and I could not deny it. I could not make excuses for him anymore. I knew what the head priest was telling me was the truth. This guy that I loved. You know, I loved this guy, and we were together, we were buds, and I invested my life. I would have given my life for him, and you know what? He probably was setting me up for something like that. He probably was setting me up, because I started looking at my past experience, like, up at Palolo Mountain Bridge, what was that about? The whole experience was gone. And then when I came back, he was like, oh wow, when you took off, you just took off. I had to go after you energetically. And then I came back all of a sudden, you know. I was like, what happened? I know the experience up at Palolo Ridge didn't go the way that he wanted to. That's all that I know, you know. I could have been one of those broken and fragmented people, you know. I'm just like, oh my God. So when he started telling me that, like, it's like my whole reality, the picture of the moon and the reflections, like, I had to reassess all of that stuff. My whole life, I gave up everything. I went for this guy, you know, and I thought I was going to help save the world, you know, because I believe what I was doing was helping the greater good. You know, he had genuine abilities, gifts, skills. It was the seduction. It was the seduction. You know, he was super adept at a lot of the mystery schools. So I had to reveal all of that stuff. Just because you got skills, that is not a measure of a master. You know, that's not a measure of a spiritual teacher. Just because you got abilities, you know. And you know, when I started talking to other people who was in the circle about T1000, they defended him. They were upset. They defended him, and you know, I was. What would you do if that was you? Would you be upset? I was pissed.
Do you ever run into those people now?
I do.
And
I just don't talk to them because some people,
they stay.
like that Christmas tree, they're not meant to go up to this. Maybe in this time, you know, their goal is to go up to level 3, maybe. You know. I want to reach for the stars. Yeah, I hope that's what you guys want to do. Because that is your potential. Go for the goal. You know, and tap into source yourself. Why have intermediaries? Well, why only go to level 3? The Egyptians prepared their whole lives for the afterlife. You know what I mean? Like, this life was just a preparation. We live it like we stress out when something pisses us off. Something pisses us off, you know, we think the world's going to end, and you know, they say death is the greatest illusion, you know, we're never born and we'll never die, you know. There's only transformations in between different forms, you know. So a lot of people defended the program, defended him, and yeah, I got bent out of shape because, man, everybody would, you know, I think. But I did realize, like, dude, some people will never change. Some people like their comfort and their security, you know, and who am I to say that that they need to be rock stars and superstars, you know?
Did you find out, like, what your connection was with him specifically? I mean, was it like a past life connection or a thing that was meant for you to come together this lifetime? Or like,
yeah, I did find out a little bit, but I think, you know,
fate with each other, but...
Yeah, it's obvious there's some connection, yeah? Yeah, but, you know, okay. And, you know, the head priest, like, you know, he had vowed to, like, help repair a lot of people, because a lot of the practices, they were all about power and skill, and power, and without developing the heart, you know, about the basic foundations, you know, and you know, ability without a solid foundation. You know, it's like giving a teenage kid a Ferrari or a Ducati. He's gonna hurt himself. You know, he's gonna hurt himself, and we want abilities, we want skills and stuff like that. You can ask for these gifts, but really, there's a price. And a lot of times you have no idea what you're dealing with, what kind of price you're dealing with, you know. So So you know, when he vowed to help fix the past, I'm like, dude, that's crazy. I had helped the T1000 get so much students. You know, I supported him, and I promoted him. You know, so I had to help fix the past. You know, I had to help repair the damage, and so I vowed to like help somehow in how that I can. You know. So some of the things that T1000 would teach me, how's this coyote? Picture this coyote, yeah? He would tell me that, he'd always tell me that he was coyote, he's coyote medicine, and sometimes you don't understand what I do. And so like, you know, you start making excuses, you think that he's doing something wrong, and why is he lying? And it's just like, what do I know? He's the evolved one, you know? I know he was really adept in hypnosis, and he'd always mention, you always have to be 3 steps ahead of your opponent. And then I'd be like, dude, that's your wife. That's your wife. What are you talking about? What opponent? You know, he'd mention things like, oh man, everybody turns on you. You know, they never appreciate these things. And man, I'm tired. Like, no, I'm tired of teaching. I don't want to teach anymore. No, but nobody appreciates this stuff. You know, and so he was really masterful at
just manipulating it.
at baiting you. And then, you know, he'd always act incompetent in certain things so that people would help him out and something. Super skillful. I mean, this guy is like, yeah, as you can see, the upgrades that he's got. I mean, this guy is like, he was super skilled at that, you know. And I started looking at how many ways he schooled me and how many ways that I got punked and stuff, you know. And I'm like, oh my God, you know. Okay, next page. So like, the definition of immunity, that occurring as a result of prior exposure to an infectious agent or antigen or of passive transfer of antibody. I was like, dude, did the head priest transfer to me some like anti-immunity, you know, because he was dealing with T1000 way before me, you know? And so when he was like, yeah, you know, I wanted to talk to you and tell you about him, but I never got a chance, you know, and but like, you'd think I would be, I was a shark after that, you know, spotting things, spotting out other teachers who aren't all that integral within themselves, you know. Inherited, acquired, or induced resistance to infection by a specific pathogen. Somebody dealing with the flu will develop flu antibodies, you know what I mean? Dealing with T1000 for 6 years, like, I got some serious antibodies, you know? So that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to spread the antibodies. Sharing my experience, yeah, that's what I want to do. Preparing for this workshop, this talk was a challenge in itself. I had to save my presentation. Every couple of slides that I worked on, I had to save it because man, it kept crashing on me. The program kept shutting down, and the slides would be like, I was like, what? No, not even, you know. And I saved it on a couple of drives, you know. When I came today, we had problems setting up the TV. I brought backup for backups, wires, and all this stuff. And thank God I brought a presentation and a projector screen that Devin lent me. I was like, thank God, you know. Or else, oh my God. So there was a lot of stumbling blocks coming, trying to get this presentation out. Next time. Now, I put Chiron in here in this slide. You know, a lot of Chiron is about the wounded healer. You know, about the deep wounding that we must all heal, and then which can become a special area where we can help others heal. Wounding of the soul and the will to evolve from it. Sometimes it's considered a rites of passage and a process of purification that accompanies spiritual development. You know, and I think we all go through our wounded healers. You know, but this is what I'm sharing. You know, this is my wounded healer of spiritual teachers from the dark ages. And I thought he was my Saturn return, because Saturn return is about father figure. It's about you should know. You know, it's about what? It's about father figures, authority, structure. You know, and I thought he was my Saturn return. You know?
Essentially, it's about you divorcing yourself from what you have adopted from those external authority figures.
Beautiful,
and finding
right.
out your own authority.
Right,
and so
right,
that's,
right.
Yeah, that's
right.
what you're doing there.
Right. Beautiful. What from the authority within you that you gave out, right? Because it's all about the internal, yeah. It's just an outward expression. Okay, next one. All right. So I had moved off to the sanctuary, to the ranch at this time. This picture of overflowing of abundance. I first got there, you know, I started helping out with gardening, landscaping, shoveling manure, answering phones, emails. I learned how to edit videos, created like, you know, make videos, make YouTube channel, handle all the multimedia department. I was like, I had to learn all this stuff. I had to get on the internet. I had to stay up and study. You know, have you ever tried making a video or PowerPoint and stuff like that? I mean, I had to learn how to edit videos myself, and I motivated myself, and I learned how by Googling and poking around and stuff like that. And you know, when we first got there, there were only one event a year that he had to carry him throughout the year, and then he struggled, and then until the next big event a year, and then when we got there.